Hello, everybody. I would love you to come and sit down for me. Come on, you sat down for the other Danny. All right, everyone, welcome back. We're diving into a conversation that couldn't be more relevant for today's beverage world, the creator, influencer, and celebrity paradigm. The lines between creators, influencers, and celebrities have never been more blurred or more powerful. A single viral moment, a creator collab, or a celebrity partnership can drive more awareness and credibility than months of traditional marketing. Today's panel explores how brands can successfully navigate this evolving space. Building community through influencers, telling authentic stories with creators, and amplifying reach through celebrity. And we've got a phenomenal group of leaders to guide this conversation, so let's have them join me on stage. So first up, we've got Josh White, the CEO and co-founder of Kano Water. Josh made waves literally by putting water in a can back in 2015. Today, Kano has sold over 85 million cans, is stocked in more than 10,000 stores, and is now the UK's leading canned water brand. Josh turned water into a brand people choose, not just a drink people need. Next, we have Simon Squibb. He's a business entrepreneur with one of the largest and most engaged followings on social media. And he will be talking about leveraging his platform and audience to build a brand that bridges culture and commerce. He's also announcing his entry into the beverage industry, which is super exciting. We're also joined by Zach Gross, partner and global sales leader at Heaven Sake. With over 25 years in the industry, Zach has scaled the luxury sake brand into a global player, building partnerships with Michelin-starred restaurants, top distributors, and hospitality groups worldwide. Just this year, he was recognized as one of Beverage Dynamics 40 under 40. And finally, Ollie Russell-Cohen, brand strategist, keynote speaker, and former director of lifestyle marketing at Liquid Death. Ollie founded Rad Season, later acquired, and has built a career building brands connect authentically with culture. He's been at the front lines of shaping brands that people don't just buy, but belong to. So let's get into it and welcome on our panel. Hey guys, take a seat. Welcome everybody. Yeah, thanks for all joining. And really, we're going to be talking about today sort of how an era where creatives don't just promote brands, they are the brands. And I think we've got a really good, diverse sort of view of sort of how that sort of comes about right now. So really, I want to sort of start with sort of how your voice or persona into a physical product or business without losing authenticity. So I'm going to start with you, Simon.
Great, I was having a little nap.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's because you've been live all day trying to get exactly that. How do you see your identity as a creator and entrepreneur?
So I'm a business person that's become a creator, which has been an interesting way around because all the people I meet at the YouTube events and the TikTok events are all under 30 and they're all like creators first, and now they're getting into business. So I'm like the granddaddy that tries to explain how business works. So I guess, you know, from my side, it's like I got into the creator space 6 years ago. Mainly, I just wanted to educate people about business on TikTok. Nice. I just wanted to go where the kids were learning naturally, YouTube and TikTok, and give them the knowledge they're not getting in school. I never really thought about the creator economy or any of that stuff. I wasn't a visionary that knew one day having a social media following would mean I could launch any business. I didn't know that. I just thought, wow, I find it interesting you can teach people directly on these platforms. So that's what I went and did. I think 6 years later, I've got 18 million followers and 500 million views a month. We get more views on my channel than the BBC get.
Wow.
And so you're like, wow, this is like, the Spider-Man moment. With great power comes great responsibility. And so now I'm in a position where I'm like, okay, I want to fix the education system, which is hard. So I'm presently offering an alternative to it with what we're doing. I think basically, though, in the end, I'm just a father. I've got an 8-year-old that wants his world to be a better place later. When he grows up in a world with AI and all, what's he going to do? Yeah. And so I'm trying to teach people about the purpose of life is a life with purpose. And that's, for me, what my brand is about. It's just like, hopefully, being authentic. I'm live streaming pretty much 24 hours a day, so people can see behind the scenes of what I'm doing as well, so people can learn how I'm doing what I'm doing, but it's for me just trying to keep it real, you know, like I left my son at the hospital just now. He didn't want me to leave, and I had, you know, tell him why I'm leaving to come and launch a new drinks brand here today and teach people some of the things I've learned about social. And that's hard, you know, so I like to share those things because entrepreneurship, I've never said is easy, but it is very rewarding when you can make an impact and launch a brand that people love, like you've done. And I think it's, you know, for me, it's just sharing that journey as authentically as I can. That's what I want my brand to be and is, I hope.
I love that. And definitely attest for it being live. I mean, we've got people in all angles of your team now showing.
And it's a mental new world. Last time, just for 8,000 people live, by the time that we finished the live today, we had at least 300,000 people watch our live content today. Crazy. So it's a whole new world, right? It's the new TV.
Yeah, I completely agree. Zach, in your world, does celebrity or influencer play a role in premium sake?
It's starting to. So you have people like Pharrell Williams that has a sake. Kate Blanchett actually just launched the sake as well. It's kind of secretive, I think, or just kind of starting. Brooklyn Beckham has a sake as well, who you guys should be very familiar with. And for us, we haven't really gone down that path fully yet. But we are immersed in the culture. We do work with celebrities. We do work with fashion brands. So we've done collaborations with Palm Angels, Casablanca, Ambush. We do these great experiences that celebrities are part of. None of it's paid, though. We do it all through networking, through our personal connections. But I do believe that any category that's an emerging category, and sake is an emerging category, does need culture, celebrity influence to kind of bring it to the next level. But it has to be authentic. That's what Jonas was talking about as well. You have to see that celebrity and say, I really believe that they do believe in that product and they do drink that, you know, they do drink sake when they go home at night, right? It has to be authentic. We're all about brand stories. You know, Japanese sake it's centuries old beverage, and what we're trying to do is make it luxury and bring it to this new consumer. So I think you need that world, even if it's not a direct celebrity that's attached to a product.
So how do you how do you pick the best brand to partner with right now?
Well, we have our own brand, Heaven Sake. So really, it's so I mean, like Casablanca, Palm Angels, both French brands, so it kind of makes sense because we're Franco-Japanese. We're a collaboration between a world-famous champagne maker and different sake breweries throughout Japan. Ambush was a Japanese clothing company, so I think that kind of has authenticity to it. There's a cool factor to it as well. They make great products, so the things that we do with them, like for instance, Ambush, we did a sake cup with. Palm Angels and Casablanca, we did these really cool tote bags and fans with. So I think it has to make sense across the board.
Definitely. Yeah, I completely agree. Josh, as a founder of a mission brand, do you see yourself as an influencer or a CEO?
Very interesting. I've never looked at myself as an influencer, but I think that over time, just because, you know, the nature of the brand, I mean, for many, many years, we were looked at as a joke, you know. First people in the world to put water in a can, and people just didn't get it. So for many years, it was, definitely wasn't looked at as an influence. I guess now, today, you know, just building my own network has been very key and has grown organically. But I've never looked at myself as an influencer, but I think that, you know, the influence that we have had unintentionally as well, you know, we started this when we were 21 years old, has been massive. And looking at brands, you know, especially across the pond like Liquid Death, who have done, you know, incredible things to raise awareness of the category, I think that that's what I'm most proud of, you know, that influence. And I guess that was why we started the business. You know, we went to Thailand, we saw how bad the plastic problem was, and we just came up with a crazy idea and, you know, have created an enormous global category.
Nice. And when you said that you were seen as a joke, was it in your head that it was just disruptive and you just sort of had to, you know, sort of persist with it?
No, it was a joke,
It
like
was?
a real joke. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, for the first sort of 3 years, people just didn't get it. You know, my own family were just like, "What are you doing?" You know, I once walked in. My sister was having a conversation with her friend, and I heard her say, "My brother's doing this canned water. It's just the most stupid thing ever. Why would anyone drink canned water?" I think that we were just ahead of our time. You know, and you know, talking about celebrity. endorsements. You know, we've never paid for any celebrities. You know, similar to Zach. I actually, you know, have seen so many brands pay for celebrities, and the word authenticity, it's like it doesn't mean anything anymore. People just know how sort of fake something is, and I think, you know, if I think back to the early days, when the plastic problem started to sort of be spoken about, it definitely was those influencers and celebrities who actually helped grow the brand and the awareness. I mean, we wouldn't be here without David Attenborough as a business.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, in 2018, we were 3 months away from running out of money, and we all had accepted our fate that this was it. And on the last month, David Attenborough did Blue Planet, and we went from being the biggest fad to, you know, I think we'd sold like a few 100,000 cans in 3 years, and in 2019 we sold 12 million cans.
Wow.
So it's pretty mad.
Yeah, pretty big jump. Ollie, you build brands around creators as part of what you do. How do you distinguish the person from the product?
So, yeah, I mean, if you kind of look at how many now, like, celebrity brands there are, kind of, it's definitely a thing where if the personality and their personal brand, they have to align with the product or with that brand. If they don't, you may get the hype, and then people, they just see through it straight away. So it's just something that, yeah, they have to be like fully on board, not just sort of as the founder, but you could say the face of it, and it's should be their whole kind of incentive to then to drive that business forward.
I completely agree. We've definitely had some experiences where that authenticity doesn't exist, and they just think that they can plug it onto what you're doing. But you obviously work with Gillian on the G-Spot side of things. Like, how engaged is she? And
so yeah, for G-Spot Drinks, Gillian's she's the co-founder, and it's I guess essentially a family business. I mean, she's sort of co-founded it with her stepson. Her daughter was involved really early on, and Gillian is like behind. I mean, just only like a month ago, we were doing like tasting. She's there, like fully immersed in it. She'd be up like sending messages late at night. So you kind of think, okay, well, there's so many other projects, and whether it's movies or books or, you know, like theatre performances that she's doing, but the brand and G-Spot has kind of pretty much taken over, especially if you see the Slack messages coming through, you know, she's definitely on top of things, and would have that sort of lead creative role on what content is being produced, what goes out, and then sort of overseeing ideas that we come up with, if it's experiential and potentially fun stuff that we can do for the brand.
Sounds good. Okay, so yeah, we're going to sort of like delve into sort of, you know, how you started and sort of how we got to here now, really. So Simon, I'll go back to you. You know, what was your path from entrepreneur platform and to now launching a beverage brand? Like, what made you think we can do a thing, we can leverage this audience? And I'd love to sort of understand why you're sort of looking to do this now, because, you know, this is a new thing for you in that sense. So yeah, we'll just understand why.
So I think it goes back to, I have a mission to fix the education system.
Right.
And part of fixing the education system is also fixing the finance system. And without getting too deep about it, we need to fund people's dreams. People need, on average, £4,000 to start a business.
Okay.
And when you lose your job, or in the future AI takes your job, people will need a little bit of support to have a new career and have a new life. And so right now, we as an organization, we have a promise that we'll never charge people for help. So we don't charge courses. I mean, I put a video up on YouTube. It's got 14 million views with all my business knowledge on it. Yep. If I chopped that up into a course, I would have made £20 million at least. And we put it up for free. So, and it's now the most popular business video on YouTube worldwide because of it. Wow. And I think that knowledge, it gets in the hands of people. And I wrote a book, which was a #1 Sunday Times bestseller. In the last 6 months, it's the #1 book for Penguin, hardback, in the UK. And so you walk in a bookshop, you'll be reminded of your dream. You'll walk or go online on TikTok or YouTube, you'll be reminded about your dream. And then now you'll walk in a supermarket and you'll see Dream Brew, our product.
Yeah.
And it will remind you to go for your dreams and have a dream. And so it's part, marketing, reminding people of their dream, but it's also the revenue, the way we are going to fund our growth. Well, right now we get brand sponsors. And so there's a limit to how much, Mr. Beast spoke about this, there's a limit to how much brands can afford to spend.
Right.
Even if you're getting them hundreds of millions of views like the Super Bowl, they will always have a certain limit, and the highs and lows of them giving you money. So we've come to the conclusion that we just have to launch our own products. Right. And so I love coffee. So launching an iced coffee is a no-brainer. And so, and we make probably 100 videos a week. So product placement's really easy for us. And we are pretty clever at marketing in general. So, I think it's the cost of getting to market for us is really low because we spent 6 years building up this platform.
Yeah.
So the only trouble for us is the manufacturing side and finding the right partner, which we've done, as you know.
Yeah.
So I think, it's just a no-brainer, frankly. And so I did try to talk Josh into it. I did say, let's put Dreamers on cans and stuff, but we couldn't make it happen. I'd love to work with Josh. I think Josh is a pioneer.
Yeah.
I love his mission, but it's not always easy to partner with people, even people that are friends and you respect.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, we just have to do it ourselves and launch our own thing. Plus, I'm excited about taking Starbucks out. It's kind of a challenge.
Cool.
Paying
That's a
tax
cool
in the UK. Woohoo. But yeah, without getting too controversial.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, when I spoke to you and the passion was there, you said about sort of community as well, and I like the fact that coffee is community.
100%. I mean, one of the big things is, and this is going to make me sound like I'm boasting, but if I leave here now, there will be, on the way back home, I would say at least 25, 30 people that will stop me and say hello and start telling me their dream.
I know that because I've been on a Zoom with you, and literally 3 people come up to you while you're on that Zoom.
It is insane.
Yeah.
And Josh, you can back me up. I'm not just boasting.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Hundreds.
But what that, I've done the largest human survey in history. I've asked people their dreams all over the world. What I've realized is people need a place to go where they feel like they can all dream. This is what Starbucks originally was. It was the third place, right?
Yeah.
A place you can go and hang out. And what's missing, community centers are gone. There's no real place for people that have a dream to gather.
Purpose.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but where people are gathering is at home a lot more now. So
Yeah.
that's why initially we'll launch in supermarkets and so on. I think in the long run, I'd like to open a lot of physical stores too, because people want somewhere to gather.
Yeah.
And so every time I ever sit in a coffee shop and gather, within like an hour, there's 20, 30 people in that coffee shop that have found out I'm there, or have turned up, or come in and said hello, and that community is missing. Right. Where can we go to gather? If we all have a dream and we want to help each other with that dream, where can we go? Apart from the beverage forum.
Yeah,
Right?
great shout.
But there's a gap, so we're trying
Yeah.
to fill it, and it's more than coffee. It's a cultural thing we want to build out, where it's okay to dream. It's okay to share your crazy idea with someone in a coffee shop or at the aisle in the supermarket. Because when you're picking up Dream Brew, you're going to be like, I'm dreaming, you're dreaming. What are you dreaming about? And we want to create those conversations and remind people to dream.
Love that.
I've taken way too much time. I've had 6 minutes. I'm looking at
know.
that counter. That's not right. I'm sorry.
So Josh, what was the moment you said, this is more than a side mission and this is my life's work, and sort of took it, to the next level?
Yeah, Simon, you like this one. I always refer to myself as the accidental entrepreneur. Like, I shouldn't be here, to be honest with you. My journey wasn't sort of conventional. I was always that sort of lunatic at school that got in trouble, ADHD, suffered severely with addiction problems. So I was definitely, not the person that was, that would have seen himself sort of sitting up here in the next 10 years. I think for me, I've always wanted to do something that had purpose behind it.
Right.
That word authenticity and purpose, it's so important to me. I think mainly because I was that kid at school that everyone said, you can't do this, you can't do this. Cano's one of those brands that the reason no one put water in a can is because it doesn't make sense. So, it needed 3 people that were all sort of dysfunctional, crazy lunatics to sort of make the decision of, we'll make it make sense.
Right.
I think, for me, I've always been obsessed with brand and product and culture. So, when we sort of came up with the idea after seeing, how bad the plastic problem was in Thailand, I didn't really need anything else apart from, like, the vision of kind of like how are we doing this, and that, you know, someone else said it before, naivety. Naivety was key for us. We were so naive. We literally just called up everyone and just hustled. And I think that's, you know, that's important. But, you know, I think the most important thing and the reason for, you know, our success is the product. I think that's where, you know, a lot of people do get it wrong. The brand has to be so strong. Otherwise, you know, it won't be here forever. And I think that's the most important thing for us is, you know, how you know, the mandate was how are we going to build something that could live on beyond us. You know, that is, it is way above us, this product. You know, we are just,
I think you're proving why you are influential. To be honest with you, you say you're not an influencer, but you're talking all the right things. Zach, your background is in beverage, right? You've been in beverage a long time, got a lot of experience. But what made you embrace the premium, luxury sort of path for Heaven Sake?
Sure. So I was actually a touring musician for most of my life. Yeah, and I got into the beverage industry by chance. Wine was always at the dinner table, so I was either lucky or unlucky that at a very young age I was drinking wine, amongst other things. I got into, when I wasn't touring as a musician, I got into working in restaurants and building beverage programs out. And right around 2008, 2009, Japanese restaurants started exploding all over California and New York. And I started building beverage programs for these restaurants and got really into sake and really into premium sake. So probably like a lot of people, before then, it was always this hot beverage that you toss in a beer and you shot, and it wasn't very premium, at least in the Western side of the world. And so flash forward, I ended up launching a previous brand with some people from Canada, and it was a luxury sake brand that was aimed at bringing the category to new heights. So getting it into establishments where it's non-traditional. And then flash forward, moving to Heaven Sake, where we're building this really one of the first luxury sake brands to ever do it. I mean, when you think of brands of sake, most people can't name any. And when I think of categories that have done this, so rosé over the last 20 years was this little pink beverage that you drank in the south of France in the summertime. Tequila was something that maybe you had on Cinco de Mayo, or you took a shot at the end of the night to show how tough you were. And now they're behemoths, and they're on every single menu possible. So that's really kind of what brought me to the premium luxury sake brand, and that's what we're doing at Heaven Sake.
Love that. That's great. So Ollie, previously worked at Liquid Death. What made you sort of come away from that and start working more with the creator side? And maybe you can tell us a little bit how it all went with Liquid Death.
Yeah, it was interesting. Interesting times. So yeah, I was, I guess, the second person working for Liquid Death outside of the US. Nice. And that was, the main goal was to get cans in hands to the right people of influence. The UK was the second market, and it ran across 13, I think we got into about 13 different markets, so we went all over Europe, into Australasia. We were about to go into the UAE, and that was for about a year and a half that it was international, and then they decided to basically a bit of a strategy change and focus on the domestic market and make sure that was sort of the main driver from all the stakeholders involved. And it's a pretty big market over there in the US. So
now you're bringing your experience into sort of working with a lot of other people, right? Yeah.
And it was kind of, sort of taking. I mean, I was brought on for I guess my network, my background, and sort of connections over in the UK, in Australia and Europe, and they did amazing content and marketing, and I mean, they don't like to call it marketing, it was more sort of entertainment, right? So that's something that they focused on, and then the other side was making sure that it was getting at those places. And like what you guys have been saying, I mean, they would never sort of pay to have cans at events, or like partnering with celebrities or influencers. It was those communities that resonated with the brand, and that's something that the big takeaway that I took from my time there was that, you know, working with brands now, it's making sure that you like understand the values of the brand, and not just that, what your audience or your potential target market, what they care about. Yeah. And then where are they hanging out? You know, where, like, what sports do they play? Where, you know, where are they going out in the evenings? Are they going out? You know, like, what are they doing? What does their community look like? And, you know, if we're part of those communities, we can then sort of infiltrate them to an extent, bring them into that sort of tribe, and it almost becomes, something that they'll then advocate for without you in the room.
Love that. Cool. So, yeah, I mean, to finish off, I'd love to talk a bit about why, really, and sort of about your strategies and sort of where you sort of, why you're building these brands. Simon, you're building Dream Brew with a sort of philanthropic edge. You know, how deeply is giving back integrated into your business model and not just about the marketing?
Yeah, so dreambrew.com, by the way, you can all sign up if you want to join the waiting list and get some of the limited edition cans we're going to launch with. And we're going to do all sorts of fun events to help people's dreams happen. I'm lucky enough to get Sir Richard Branson involved as well, so we're doing some really exciting things to like help people's dreams happen. I mean, the ultimate mission is, as I said, fix the education system. But people coming out of school, 52% of kids coming out of university in England right now can't get a job. So what are they going to do? And so we have to see the future and realize that they can sit at home having universal basic income, which is basically social benefit repackaged, and have no purpose. Now, as someone in my life where there's moments I've had no purpose, I know how demoralizing that is for humanity. So, you know, we want people to go for their dreams. And Dream Brew will help fund those dreams. Dream Brew will help promote those dreams. Dream Brew is a community. It's not just a drink. And so it's kind of like, the mission for me is we're in it together. I would say 1 + 1 = 11. My accountant hates that, by the way, because she does not agree. But it really does, you know, like teamwork. And so the whole idea is that we have a product, yes, that sells and we make money. And that product, hopefully people really enjoy it and they get a lot of joy from drinking the product, but they also know they're part of something. And I think that is missing in a lot of products. Yeah. They're not part of something. I mean, that's what I liked about Liquid Death. You do feel like it's entertainment, but it's still not part of something. It's entertainment, but it's not part of something. And I think communities are the new barrier to entry. Technology is getting cheaper. I invested in a business called Lovable, got in very early. It's just been valued at $5 billion. Oof. That company, you voice click what you want and it gets made app-wise. It can make an app with your voice. So technology is getting easier to build. But community is going to be the thing that differentiates brands in the future. So we have a community already, and we're just saying, hey, buy this product and support the community.
Love that.
So that for me, it's not I'm not an influencer with a load of products I'm pushing and see if I can make some money. No, this is core to what we do. Yeah. This is forever, and this is how we're going to fund dreams.
Love that. And Josh, with plastic waste and environmental mission at Kano, how do you measure impact and ensure the accountability of it?
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to measure, right? You know.
Yeah, it is hard to measure, and you know, in the grand scheme of things, you know, Kano is just a drop in the ocean. Right. Excuse the pun. Yeah, I think that you know, we've nearly sold 100 million cans, and I think that if you had said that to me 10 years ago when we started, you know, it's a huge achievement. I think that, you know, the most frustrating thing is plastic isn't going anywhere. You know, it's you know, there's more, every single day I'll walk past, you know, a cafe and I'll see, you know, just more and more plastic bottles. You know, I'll see places that have gone into different sort of forms of packaging and then they've come back to plastic. You know, it's being sustainable's expensive, you know, and it isn't easy. So I think that, you know, the truth is, it's difficult to measure impact. I think the impact that we've kind of done is that we started this movement, but the main thing, and this is where influence is very important, is to kind of make noise and not allow unauthenticity to sort of crowd the market, which over the years, you know, I've seen enormously. You know, Tetra Pak as an example, a type of cardboard. You know, it might look recyclable. It isn't. It's worse than plastic. And these are the kinds of things that, you know, as a purpose-led founder, as someone that started this for, like, with pure purpose, that's dedicated the past 10 years to it, you know, as founders, we have an obligation to make sure that we don't go backwards. And I think that, you know, I've seen it massively over the past 10 years where, celebrity brands or whatever, you know, people come in and they kind of, sometimes they don't even know what they're talking about. Right. You know, and I think that can be very, very, very confusing. But 9 times out of 10, it gets, you know, caught out. Yeah. And there is a massive lack of that authenticity in there. You know, I'm a massive fan of what Simon's doing because you can straight away see a red thread of just pure authenticity. And I know him as a person, and I know what he, you know, how authentic he is. But I think that, yeah, our job is to just make sure that, that canned water is the future, because, you know, that is for us, that's our solution to the problem.
Love that. Cool. And just sort of keeping to that authenticity side, Zach, so Premium Sake has strong expectation for authenticity and heritage. So how do you innovate with those constraints? Because it's very funneled, right?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. Our innovation comes from our champagne maker. Oh. So blending has existed in sake for many, many, many years, but traditionally it was done really to lower the cost and make something kind of light and easy to drink. You know, you get off work, you want to grab a sake and enjoy it in Japan. Régis, who is our champagne maker, is actually credited as the first to bring assemblage, which is a fancy way of blending in the champagne world, to the sake category. So what we do is we partner with breweries, and he blends their sake to create our sake with the goal of making something new and unique, kind of like a wine-like experience, but with the sake as the DNA. So everything is made by the brewery, by the Tojis, by the brewmasters. The glass is made in Japan. Everything's 100% made in Japan, so there's the authenticity. And then Régis is coming in and doing this assemblage. And what I think is remarkable to me over we're celebrating our 10th year anniversary next year. What's remarkable is the doors that are open now. Because when we first started, we were very lucky to partner with a really amazing brewery. But it was one brewery, and there weren't a whole lot that were, you know, knocking on our doors. And now every door is pretty much open, more or less. Yeah. Come in, do this. So, you know, the proof is there, and it's cool to be a part of that.
Nice. Well, I'm getting told to wrap up, because, sure. But it's my fault. But Ollie, just one quick one before we finish up. When you advise brand launches, what are your first sort of 90 days product and distribution focused like priorities?
I guess the first thing that we would go and do is sort of like look at every aspect of the brands and kind of and the audience, and sort of see, or like on my end, like on the sort of like the events, lifestyle, partnerships side of things, where is it resonating? Where is it working? Are they spreading themselves too thin? There's always like there's budget constraints, right? Like looking at challenger brands and like when they're starting off, and just making sure that people are focusing on the right things, and not just getting pulled in a million directions, which can be the case. So.
Nice. Makes sense. I think it's been super. I could literally talk to you guys for absolutely hours, but I think give a big round of applause. Thanks very much for all 4 of these. And now, to keep us moving, I'd like to welcome back American Danny up onto the stage. I think he's coming through. So thanks very much, Danny. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We didn't mention bananas once. We were meant to mention bananas.